This is Lee Habib, host of Our American Stories. When it comes to sports, few names encapsulate a game. Michael Jordan, think basketball. Tiger Woods, think golf. And when it comes to NASCAR, one name stands alone, Dale Earnhardt. He died in February of 2001 in the last lap of the Daytona 500. But it's how he lived that's remarkable. Here to tell the story is Jay Busbee, author of Earnhardt Nation and a writer for Yahoo Sports.
Daytona International Speedway can house as many as 150,000 fans, and on this day the entire track was sold out. It was a beautiful day, blue skies, warm weather. It's the kind of weather that everybody else in the country is looking at Daytona and saying, man, I wish I was there. Down below on the pits, you could see the cars lined up in a row, one after the other, and on pit row, it's absolute chaos. There are drivers there, there are crew chiefs there, there's family there, there's media there, but right there by the number 3, right there by Dale Earnhardt's black Goodrich number 3 is Teresa Earnhardt. Sharp and businesslike in a deep purple blazer, black slacks and sunglasses, she kisses him once, her right hand curled around the back of his head, then she kisses him again. They're not long kisses or deep, meaningful ones. They're the loving but routine kisses a wife gives her husband as he heads off to his job. Broadly speaking, the Daytona 500 is called NASCAR's Super Bowl, but that's not quite fair for a number of reasons. First of all, the Daytona 500 is older than the Super Bowl, and second of all, the Daytona 500 can house more people in the track than the Super Bowl can, sometimes by as much as a factor of 3. Also, most importantly, the Daytona 500 starts the season rather than ending it. And on this particular Daytona 500, you had the start of a new century, you had the start of a new millennium, and you had the start of a new era in NASCAR. And you had both young drivers and old drivers in the field. Drivers like Dale Earnhardt, drivers like Bobby and Terry Labonte, drivers like Mark Martin, who had been around for a long time. And then you had new drivers who were coming along, like Dale Earnhardt Jr., like Matt Kenseth, and then like Jeff Gordon.
Here at Daytona, I'm going with the man who has won more races here at Daytona than anybody in history. Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, will pull into victory lane when the checkered flag falls. Steve, the sentimental favorite.
The Daytona 500 had a very special meaning for Dale Earnhardt, and he always loved this race more than any other. He chased it for many, many years. On this day, he was preparing to run the race when NASCAR was experiencing a seismic change. The significance was Fox Sports had just begun broadcasting NASCAR. This was going to be their first race. And the reason why this was significant was it marked NASCAR's elevation into a higher level of American sports. For many, many years beforehand, NASCAR had been spread out over as many as 7 broadcast networks. You had to check every single weekend to figure out where the race was going to be, what channel it was going to be on. Fox comes in, and off of about 10 years worth of success broadcasting the NFL, they said, you know what? We're going to broadcast NASCAR now. We're going to make NASCAR huge. And what they did was, in their characteristic Fox way, made it into an event, made it into a spectacle. And at the center of that spectacle was Dale Earnhardt.
Can you win your second 500 today?
Well, we got a good shot at it. Got a good race car. A little win today. A little exciting. I think it's going to be some exciting racing. Going to see something you probably had never seen on Fox.
He was going to be the star for Fox going forward. They were going to have him have the entire season centered on him. They were going to be bringing Dale Earnhardt into the Fox NFL studios later that year. They had an entire plan, and this was legitimizing NASCAR in the eyes of the world. It had been thought of as a southern hillbilly sport, bunch of rednecks running around in circles, and this was a sign that the entire country was going to be taking NASCAR more seriously. So it had all of the trappings, all of the celebration, all of the build-up that you would expect with a major Fox event.
Every driver dreams of winning the Daytona 500. Michael Waltrip dreams just of winning this race, any race.
The Daytona 500 is 200 laps of racing on a 2.5-mile track, hence the 500 in the race's name. And for many of those 200 laps, you have drivers who are kind of jockeying for position. It's one of the two biggest tracks on the NASCAR circuit, and it's a super speedway, which means drivers can go all out, hammer down, mash the pedal to the floor, and never let up all the way around the track.
Come on, buddy. You got 2 to go.
What that also means is that the wrecks can be a lot more devastating, can be a lot more catastrophic. It's a high-speed chess match, except that in this case the chess pieces often fly into the air. And you had that on lap 175 when Robbie Gordon hit the back of Ward Burton's car. Ward Burton runs into Tony Stewart, and Tony Stewart's car flips almost vertical with the car pointing straight up and down. Now the sad irony of this is that the car narrowly misses Dale Earnhardt's number 3. If Stewart had come down on Earnhardt's car, if he clipped it, if he caused a little bit of damage, who knows how the rest of the day would have turned out. But in the end, what happened was, in order to clean up this wreck, they stop the race, they prepare for the final few laps of the race, and at this point what we have is Dale Earnhardt himself up at the front of the pack alongside Michael Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt Jr. These are two drivers who are the drivers for Dale Earnhardt's own team. So Earnhardt had his own interests at heart, but he also had these two drivers to look out for as well. And so as the final laps of the race wound down, it became apparent that what Earnhardt was doing was setting up these two drivers to win. They were at the front of the field. Michael Waltrip in first, Dale Jr. in second, Dale Sr. in third. And what Dale Sr. was doing was playing defense. He was, as the old saying goes, driving 3 wide all by himself. He was trying to hold off the entire rest of the field to give his two drivers a chance to win. Now, in the final turn of the 2001 Daytona 500, what happened was it got to be too much.
Oh, big trouble. Big wreck behind them.
Lead him back. Come on.
Dale Sr. gets turned into the wall by a Sterling Marlin's car, drives straight into the wall, and what happens then is that the car, Dale Sr.'s car, hits the wall at an angle, at a sharp impact, and then rolls back down the hill. Now, seeing a wreck at the end of the Daytona 500 is not all that uncommon. It happens an awful lot as drivers are trying to jockey into position for that final run at the checkered flag. What happened in this case was Dale Sr.'s car drifts back down into the infield, and then nothing.